I wanted you to describe for our listeners, our followers, whether watching or listening, Shannon, some of the worldwide impact
Mhm.
that Crew has had for the cause of Christ over the years. Give us a little short history lesson on some of the worldwide impact, if you would.
Mhm. It is what I love about our organization, that yes, it started at UCLA, but it was how can we actually take the gospel message to the world? And again, I feel like that was kind of embedded from the very beginning of Crew. And I remember my husband and I were on a summer mission in Russia a few years ago, and we were at this church, and I went to their book table, and there on the book table are these books from Dr. Bright,
Wow.
Mhm.
translated
Wow.
into their language.
Mm.
And you just start to see this profound impact that Crew has had. And I remember one time somebody in my Bible study at church asked me, "Do you think Crew's had the greatest impact in certain parts of the world?" And I said, "Well, I actually think there are missionaries that went before us and just prayed." And then we
Mhm.
had the privilege of coming after that. And as they have prayed and asked God to work in those countries, to take the gospel to those countries, that we started seeing people come to Christ, and we
Mm.
started sending missionaries
Mm.
around the world.
Mm.
And those countries are sending missionaries around the world. So you start to see the multiplication start to happen. And I
Mhm.
can't tell you how many countries I've been to where you see the DNA of Crew, and whether it's
Mhm.
the booklet's been translated into that language, the Jesus film, which is based out of the book of Luke, um, that shares the life of Jesus and how to have a relationship with
Mm.
God, and how
Mm.
that shows up in different countries. And so I think the Lord has just, it's been a tool, a vehicle that God has used to take the gospel to the world. And it's, yeah, I love that we're a part of that.
Mm. Mm.
Mm. Yeah, I was in Africa, and
Yes.
I came across this bookstore. They call it Life Ministry in the country I was at, their ministry Crew. And
Mhm.
they had a bookstore in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya. And I was on this Baptist mission trip, and I had never really had any exposure to the Crew resources. And we went in there, and my brother, I have a twin brother, we bought all the Crew transferable concepts, Bill of Rights concepts, and
Yeah.
we devoured those over the summer. And I mean, I think about what God did in my life, um, just depending on the Holy Spirit,
Yeah.
having faith, setting faith goals. Just that summer, we saw 50. We started praying for 50 people to come to Christ, and we saw 50 people come to Christ. Just these kind of things that it opened us up to this whole new kind of experience with God.
Mhm.
Um, his spirit, and then also just learning to step out in faith, and share our faith. And so I've always, just as we're explaining that, for me, it's just I've always been a Crew wannabe, kind of like, and always wanting to just to share back to the basics, trusting the Holy Spirit, sharing the gospel and the power of the Spirit, living by faith, setting faith goals, and trusting Him for things that are impossible and above our pay grade, but still stepping out on those things. Those are all things that I've seen God do on our campus here in Chico, and then it's even spreading across through other networks beyond Crew. And so it's just so cool to see from I'm from the outside in,
Wow.
how it deeply impacted me. And this idea of not just being content to have a ministry on campus,
Yeah.
but really, even you guys call your ministries movements on the
Mhm.
campus. Can you share kind of how would you define a movement on a college campus?
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. When you think about the word movement, it means you're moving, where, and what are we moving towards? We're moving towards multiplying disciples. That people that are, if you're moving, you're multiplying. And so what we want to see is um, students who are captivated by Jesus, and they're sharing that with other people, and they're multiplying themselves out. And so it's
Mhm.
not just the staff kind of going about, but as they're pouring into people, then those students are pouring into people, and those students, you just start to see the multiplication that happens. And so it really, we want to see gospel movements on
Hmm.
every campus. And actually, Paul, I
Mhm.
so appreciate what you shared in the crew wannabes, because I actually think it takes partnering together. It's
Yeah.
not just about crew, it's not just about these individual ministries or church, college ministries. It's about partnering together and
Yeah.
believing God together to multiply us out, so that the gospel would go forth in even more powerful ways as we partner together. I just think that's really important and key, because we can't do it alone, but we can
Mhm.
do it together in the ways that God, has given us, and wherever we may serve and what we're believing God for. Because I think college students, I just think they're so great. And I
Mhm.
just think God is using them and will continue to use them in great ways. And so,
Amen.
as we partner and believe together of how those students could be used, not just in their 4 years, but beyond those 4 years, is profound, I think, for Christ.